Hey guys, it's Maya. Welcome back, and let's talk about why it is super important to ask, is this me, when you are an empath who is feeling strange. And guys, watch to the end if you're interested in finding out about supplements and vitamins that can help you stay calm and centered and reduce your anxiety as an empath. To be an empath means that you have a gift to be able to pick up on the energies of those who are around you. And about 1 out of every 4 people is an empath, and empaths are being more and more recognized in psychology today, which I think is really awesome as well. As empaths, we are going to be super highly sensitive to the emotional states of other people. However, we live in a world that tells us that we are separate. So a lot of us, even though as empaths we are much less separate from those around us than the typical person, a lot of us still have that belief like, I'm separate and what I'm experiencing here, what I'm feeling is unique to me, and my feelings are going to be different than that person over there sitting next to me on the train, etc., or this other person who lives with me in my home or whatever. But in truth, if you are an empath, and especially if you are a very sensitive empath, a lot of what you are feeling is not actually yours. A lot of what you are feeling is going to be from the people around you. As an empath, it's extremely important for us to spend time where we're totally alone. You may need to spend time quite far away from others as well. Like, it might not be enough to be alone in a room if there's someone else in a room right next to you. You might need to kind of like go out into nature or something like that and be alone. Of course, be safe. But anyway, my point is to say that as empaths, it's important for us to have time in our own energy, to know what our natural feelings are. Like, how do we really feel when we are balanced and when we are on our own? And then for us to notice fluctuations and dramatic changes that might happen in our core feelings. So for me, for example, I'm alone right now. I'm pretty much alone. There's some people over there in the apartment next to me. Otherwise, I'm pretty alone and I'm not that influenced by the emotions of those around me right now. So my sort of natural core feeling is one pretty much of contentment, and generally one of optimism, and just pretty much a feeling of kind of enjoyment, a little bit humorous, etc. Like, that's kind of my unadulterated core frequency. What I've been trying to do recently is to notice when that frequency changes a lot, and then ask myself, is this me? So if all of a sudden, if I wake up and I feel fear, like I just feel fear energy, I feel like really constricted or something like that, or I go out in the world and I feel that way, I'm trying to be more mindful, and instead of thinking, wow, I must have had a really bad sleep or something like that because all of a sudden I'm in fear, to start asking myself, is this me? And what I have found is that a very good percentage of the time when I'm experiencing disharmonious emotions, it is not me. So I want to tell you guys a little story time that happened last Thursday, I think it was. So this was supposed to be a typical day. I was going to work, I was going to do my readings and answer some emails and do some work for you guys. And my husband was going to go to work, and he actually works at an elementary school. But that's not what happened, because we got an ice storm, and in the morning the school was canceled. And of course I still had to work, I still had to do all my emails, I still had to do my readings and everything else. And so I spent the day in my office working, and he was kind of just around the house. Now during that day, I experienced emotions that were unusual. I experienced hopelessness. I experienced feelings of insecurity. I experienced feelings of, well, feeling like I didn't have a purpose in the world. And you know what's funny, you guys, is that I spent like all day trying to figure out why I was having these feelings. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I don't have any purpose in the world. Why, you know, maybe I'm off on my purpose. Maybe I could do this to be more purposeful. I kept trying to analyze why I was having hopelessness and like what needed to change in my life. And I actually came up with like all of these ideas of ways to try to improve my emotional state and no longer feel this insecurity and hopelessness and sense of not having a purpose. And then at the end of the day, my husband, he actually went away for some reason. I think he had like a webinar or a conference or something like that, and he actually left for 3 hours. And when he left, I was like, I felt so good. I was like, oh my God, I love my life. Like, I did such a good work today and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, like the hopelessness, insecurity, all of that stuff was gone. And I was like, oh my God, like I literally spent the entire day trying to fix these emotions that I was having, and they were not mine. Like, they were not mine at all. The whole time they actually belonged to my husband and not to me. And so then when he did return later on that night, that was kind of the first time that day that we really had a chance to talk, because I was finished with my work, and I said, hey, you know, honey, are you feeling like you don't have a purpose in the world? Are you feeling hopeless? Did you feel like insecure today? And he was like, yeah, I felt all of those things. And I was like, okay, seriously, Maya, like, you need to ask yourself more often, is this me? And also make a video about this topic to help other people. So that's kind of why I'm making this video. So 2 really important questions to ask yourself on a daily basis, maybe even on an hourly basis, is what am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? And is this me? And like I said, really the only way to know if it is you is to get familiar with your core frequency and your core energy when you are alone. I don't want to say that empaths never have negative emotions of our own. Obviously, we can have bad days. Obviously, if you're a lady, you might have PMS or something like that, and you may have times where your frequency is low, but I want to say that more than 50% of the time, if you're feeling kind of icky, it's probably not you. It's probably something you picked up on. If you notice any feelings or thoughts, because some of us are telepathic, if you notice feelings or thoughts that do not sound like you and do not feel like you, they are probably not you, okay? And you always want to assess whether an emotion is you before you try to fix it. Okay, learned that the hard way. All right, so if it is not you, if you ask, is this me, and it's not you, you have 3 choices. Now, the first thing that you can do, which is what I recommend most of the time, is just move away from the source of the negative emotion. I think that this is easiest most of the time. If you can, if there's a way to kind of go on a walk outside, for example, or if you're able to just change your environment, maybe you're like sitting in a library or something like that, and it's actually the person at the table next to you, maybe just move tables. So first option, first line of defense, move away from the negative emotion. If you cannot move away, the second best option is to acknowledge the source of the negative emotion while also acknowledging that it's not you, right? So, okay, right now, wow, I'm next to somebody who's really super angry at their wife, and so I feel anger, but it's not me. Like, it isn't me. That's what I like to do when I can't move away. And then the third option is to try to transmute the negative energy for that person. If you don't know how to do this, then I just recommend, you know, either trying to move away or just accept and acknowledge the source. You could try to transmute the energy. And basically, a couple of different ways to do that. One is that you can send a directed positive energy towards the person who is emanating negativity. So you can close your eyes and you can kind of visualize an aura. Pink light can be really calming, whatever you feel is right, and visualize it around that person. be careful with this one, but I do this sometimes, which is that you can take that person's negative energy, again, warning, like you can take that person's negative energy into your own physical body, run it through your heart chakra, and then send it out through your feet and back into the earth, okay? So that's kind of if you're a little bit more advanced and if you really care about the person a lot and you want to really help them. So typically I will take in a person's energy like into my crown chakra, transmute it in my heart to love, and yep, then send out any excess like through my feet and into the earth. That's pretty much exactly how I do it. If I do that for somebody, which essentially I do it every day during my readings, depending, but if I do it for someone, if you do something like that, it's really important to clear your energy afterwards. And you can do that by like taking a shower and imagining that the shower head is clearing you with energy. Imagine that it's like radiant white light and it's clearing your aura. Take a salt bath, use sage, something. If you're going to try to transmute somebody else's energy, make sure you clear yourself afterwards. And if you're feeling sick or you're feeling down or any of that kind of stuff, probably don't take somebody else's negative energy into your body. So yeah, guys, that's the main content of the video. But somebody had asked me to talk about vitamins and minerals to help empaths with anxiety. So here we go. I'm going to go through them kind of quickly. I'm actually going to start with vitamins because I believe that many of us have vitamin deficiencies. Obviously, talk to your doctor. I'm not a doctor. Many of us can benefit from nutrients that will help us naturally balance symptoms of anxiety. So the first, it's actually a mineral that I really recommend that empaths consume in higher quantities is magnesium. A lot of us in the Western world are not getting enough magnesium. If you experience like muscle pains, muscle cramps, or you experience headaches, migraines, those could be some signs that you are not getting enough magnesium. Magnesium will help you to feel calm. It can help to lower your blood pressure, and it can also help your muscles relax and things like that. My main source of magnesium is this. I take these Concern Trace Mineral Drops. I actually add it to distilled water. That's a whole different topic, but I consume these in high quantities, okay? So I want to say the serving size on this is 40 drops, and I want to say that I probably get like 80. So I probably get about 600% of my magnesium that I need every day. And honestly, it makes a huge difference. Like sometimes I will have like subtle symptoms of anxiety or something like that, and I'll put like 10-15 drops of this into water and I'll just drink it, and then I'll just be like, oh, like I can literally feel my blood pressure lowering when I drink the magnesium. And occasionally I'll run out of this and it's horrible. Like it's just like I feel like a different person. So I highly recommend magnesium. These are kind of expensive. This costs like $26 for, what is this supposed to be? It's like a 3-month supply or something. So you can also find magnesium in other sources as well that are more affordable, like tablets and things like that. I also recommend vitamin B, a vitamin B complex for stress, to lower your stress levels, and that will also help to raise your energy a little bit. Your physical energy, it can raise your metabolism if you have issues with like weight and stuff like that, which a lot of empaths do. It can help with that. Another nutrient I highly recommend is vitamin D. Most people who live in the Western world are deficient in vitamin D, or at least have very low vitamin D levels. If you are feeling lackless, like you just don't have any energy to do anything, you don't care anymore, if you have symptoms of depression that seem to be like gradually getting worse over time, if your sleep patterns are messed up, or in general, if you just don't get a lot of sunlight, even if you do get a lot of sunlight, but you have a darker skin tone, really everyone, I feel like, can benefit from vitamin D, but especially if you're feeling depressed, I recommend taking vitamin D. Now this one is something that your doctors can easily check if you go in for a physical or something, so maybe get your levels checked. But I'll tell you what, a lot of people say that going in the sun will give you enough vitamin D, and that has not been my experience. I actually became deficient in vitamin D during my Peace Corps service in Benin, West Africa, which is literally right on the equator and gets tons of sunlight. I was spending tons of time in the sun, and when I got back from that experience, my vitamin D levels were 2, which is horrible. Like, you want at least to have like 35 or something like that. And I felt depressed and it was really, really bad. So I don't know about the sunlight connection. I don't think going in the sun is enough. Another one that people don't realize that helps so much with stress and with blood pressure is vitamin C. And if you don't have a lot of money and you're going to try a vitamin to help, then I think that vitamin C could be probably the most affordable option. Personally, I don't think it's quite as powerful as magnesium or something like that. But when you are under times of stress, so if you're going through a really stressful time, your body burns a lot more vitamin C. So supplementing with vitamin C is a really good idea. Okay, now for 3 herbs that you can use. So vitamins, of course, are nutrients. Herbs are more so like leaves and things like that. And I think there's a greater chance if you're taking an herb that you'll have a side effect. With a vitamin, you probably won't have any side effect taking a vitamin, most likely, okay? Oh, a really powerful anti-anxiety herb that I recommend is Tulsi, which is also sometimes called holy basil. This one is powerful, okay? So I'm only recommending ones that I've tried that have worked for me. I tried this one and I had to take it back because it was so effective. So basically what happened when I took Tulsi, now again, my system is like super sensitive, so I'm not saying that this will happen to you, but basically I took it and it like calmed my mind so much that I was like pretty much almost sedated. And then I basically like I had just put up the Christmas decorations and I had put like this Merry Christmas thing on the wall, and I just like looked at it almost in a trance for like an hour, and I just felt like so calm and so blissful. And then I was like, yeah, okay, like I'm gonna take this back. This is a little bit too much for me. But if you're like really anxious, really on edge and stuff, I think that Tulsi, holy basil, could be really good for you, and I think it has tons of other benefits as well. I also recommend lemon balm. I took that at night for a long time. If you have like racing thoughts and you just have difficulty like relaxing at the end of the day or in the middle of the day, lemon balm has a long history of inducing relaxation and in higher quantities inducing sleep, so that could be very beneficial. And of course, my final recommendation is ashwagandha. I have a whole video about how ashwagandha changed my life, and if you're somebody who has a very stressful lifestyle, and if you're experiencing like issues in your sleep cycles, sleep-wake cycles, or you just feel like rushes of adrenaline like every time a stressor comes in your life, that could be a sign that your cortisol levels are not balanced, and ashwagandha can help with that. So yes, you guys, this video has been a lot longer than I ever thought that it was gonna be, but I hope that you have really liked it. And just always remember, ask yourself, what am I feeling, and is this me? And if possible, consider a nutrient or a supplement to just help you stay balanced as an empath. And I hope you all have a really wonderful day. As always, thank you for watching, and namaste. Bye.